They built this and they've been here. You can't even afford to live here, and yet you're talking down on them. And this feeling of like, we just got here and you are talking down on them when they built this to begin with, has been a pervasive, persistent, ongoing feeling for the entirety of my time here in the States. African Americans literally put their bodies on the line. They got mauled by dogs. They got shot by water cannons. They got spit at the counter of restaurants. They got killed in order to attain some sort of equality, some sort of freedom within this country. And thanks to them, within a year of them winning the Civil Rights Act, the quotas for migrants of color were abolished.
Chesley Major. Chesley Major.
Chesley Major. Chesley Major.
Chesley Major. Chesley Major.
Welcome to Chesley Major Media. Thanks for joining me. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button. Today we're going to dive into some video that dives deep into how some immigrants feel about immigrants and immigration. Let's get into it.
All right, immigrants, let's come to the front because I want us to have a conversation. A couple of weeks ago, Kai Sinat made a comment about how supposedly African Americans don't have any culture, and I think it's time we talk. I'm an immigrant myself. I was born in the Caribbean and raised in Europe, and I've been here in the United States, living in the United States since I was about 13 years old. But when I was a little girl, I would come and spend either part of the summer or the entire summer here with different family. And I began noticing like little comments here and there early on, but I think when I was 12 years old, is when I finally began realizing that there's something really messed up on how a lot of immigrants talk about African Americans. So my dad was very, very successful for a very specific chunk of time, and he lost it all eventually, like by the time I was like 16. But when I was growing up, he was definitely amassing more and more success and money. And so we moved, and by we I mean him, his wife, my step and half siblings, and then myself when I would come visit. We were living in a decent house that was a bit small in a neighborhood that wasn't, I wasn't saying it was the hood, but it was definitely a bit run down, lots of potholes, unkempt front yards type of deal, just, smaller houses, etc., etc. And when I turned 12, when I was 12, we moved to a nicer neighborhood. This neighborhood had much bigger houses. It had very nicely kept lawns. The streets were very beautifully kept. Everything was super, super nice in this new neighborhood. And it was clear that we were like moving on up, right? And so my father hired day laborers, migrants, to come and help us with the move. And I remember sitting in the back of the pickup truck, and I remember listening to the men talk, the migrants. These were men from South and Central America and the Caribbean. And they were talking about the people in the neighborhood, and they were talking down on the people in the neighborhood. And I was very confused for a number of reasons. So the people in the neighborhood were all African American. As far as the eye could see, all the way down, it was all African Americans. And it was clear that this was like a generational neighborhood. Like it was clear that there had been families that had been here for years and years. And obviously this was not my first time in that neighborhood. Like when they bought the house, we would come and check out the house and like go around the neighborhood and stuff, right? So it was clear that families had been living here, and it was clear that they had built this neighborhood to be what it was. They were the ones that keeping it as nice as it was. And again, nicer houses, bigger houses, etc., etc. And so I was very confused from the sense that we had just gotten there. Like literally, we weren't able to afford it before this, and we had just gotten there. And like there was no room for us to talk down on the people that clearly built this. And then on the other hand, the day laborers, the migrants, mind you, this is no classism shit, because I myself was very poor for most of my childhood. My dad had money, and I only experienced money when I would come and visit him. Other than that, I was broke. My mom was broke, we were broke. And so this is no classism shit, but the day laborers, I was also very confused with them, because it was very much like, can you even afford to live here? They built this and they've been here. You can't even afford to live here, and yet you're talking down on them. And this feeling of like, we just got here and you are talking down on them when they built this to begin with, has been a pervasive, persistent, ongoing feeling for the entirety of my time here in the States. I've been here for basically 20 years now. I'm in my mid-30s. And I have been so annoyed by seeing this over and over and over again for a number of reasons. First of all, because you wouldn't be able to be here in this country, period, if it wasn't for African Americans. Not only because they built this country on free labor, literally built this country on free labor, but also because through the 1910s and the 1920s, the United States was passing act after act after act that was forbidding us, migrants of color, to come into the country. The acts that they were passing was forbidding Mexicans, was forbidding Chinese folk, it was forbidding any migrant of color to come into this country. And it wasn't until the civil rights movement, until African Americans literally put their bodies on the line. They got mauled by dogs, they got shot by water cannons, they got spit at the counter of restaurants, they got killed in order to attain some sort of equality, some sort of freedom within this country. And thanks to them, within a year of them winning the Civil Rights Act, the quotas for migrants of color were abolished. If it wasn't for African Americans literally putting their bodies on the line, you, migrant of color, would not be able to step foot into this country. And so I need you to understand that you should be extremely grateful, not only for the fact that they built this country, but for the fact that they won the freedoms that allow us to be able to be in this country and create a better life for ourselves. But that's not all. The other part that really frustrates me about this is that African Americans have been the cultural pallbearers for the entire globe for decades. And I'm talking about anywhere that you go in this world, you will encounter African American culture. Music, clothing, hair, anything and everything that they come up with, you will find it in Spain, you will find it all across Europe, you will find it all across Asia. And what I find to be extremely frustrating, in line with the comment that Kaisenat made, is that y'all will take their culture, enjoy their culture, turn around, and then not give credit where credit is due, and then look down and talk down on African Americans. And to me, that makes absolutely no sense. And I need you to understand that all the stereotypes that y'all like to heave upon African Americans, all the things that y'all claim they are, y'all claim that they are ghetto and hood, which I have another rant about that and how y'all talk about ghetto and hood and all that stuff, but a different video. Y'all say that they're ghetto and they're hood and they're uneducated, whatever the hell the things that y'all claim they are. I would rather be all of those things than to be a liar, to be a thief, and to be a hypocrite. Because if you're taking their culture, lying about where it's coming from, and then continuing to enjoy it, you're a thief, you're a liar, and a hypocrite. And frankly, I'd rather be everything that you say African Americans are than to be those three things. And so if you're one of those people, whether you're here in the United States or you're a K-popper in Korea, I don't care. If you dare use anything that African Americans have created and then turn around and look down on them, whether that be culturally or even being able to be in this country, I need you to do better.
Like, how are we allowed to have a foreign policy? We are violating the policies here. Right, you see what I'm saying? Like What do you mean the immigrants are getting a check and we're putting them up in places that what? You mean in the homeless people's face?
Right in the homeless people's faces.
Like,
right?
Let us show you what we could have done.
Right.
Is a portion of this that is emotional for me, and I'll explain why. I mean, I'm not gonna. I can't sit here and not tell you that I don't have an emotional factor to this. Let me explain why. So there is an emotional side to this, and I would be lying if I didn't say that. However, one thing that we also have to understand is that no matter what way you look at it, the law is the law. And you can say, oh, sellout, coconut. I've already heard all this other bullshit. I've already heard all of it. And I've been called all of it. But I will tell you that a lot of people also agree with that. For example, I know that a lot of the protests are being funded and they're out there burning cars, waving the Mexican flag. It's wild to me that you come to a country that we broke into, let's call it for what it is, even though it's emotional to me. I come from illegal immigrant parents. I have illegal immigrant family members to this day. And that you're demanding something as if you're entitled to it. And you're waving the Mexican flag in America and saying, oh, F ICE. I was having a conversation with somebody on Instagram the other day. We were going back and forth. I said, if let's say right now with all your stupid ass little signs, if we sent you to Congress and you represented all the Hispanic community, how would we end up? If everything was on your shoulders with your FIs, stolen land, this used to be Mexico, is that what you're gonna go to all these congressmen? If amnesty was on your shoulders, is that the route that you're gonna take? And that's the irritating part, I think, for a lot of us. I understand, for example, 1986, which that's how my grandfather became legal here, and my uncles and my mom did, was because Ronald Reagan gave amnesty. And here's my emotional part. That a lot of people won't agree with on the right, okay? But I'm gonna speak I'm just gonna be very honest. When we vote, for example, when Trump, by the way, just to make one thing clear, I do not regret it. I do not regret it. I don't like everything that Trump does, but I don't regret it. I'd much rather have a Trump than a Kamala. When Trump said,
I can agree with him on that one. I would not have voted for Kamala Harris at all. If Kamala would have gotten the office, her and Walls, you know what I'm saying? This whole country would have been destroyed. They already had let, 15 to 30 million people in? This country would no longer exist as is or once was before. So, yeah, I'm glad that Kamala didn't get in, and I don't support everything that Trump does myself, but I support immigration policies. You can't get in here legal, then you can't get in here. Let's get back into it.
This is what people were going after. We were being told that there was people eating cats and dogs in apartments in Denver, Colorado, and the Tren de Agua, and this and that. That's what we were being told. So therefore, when we're saying, hey, they're gonna go after all these guys that Biden let in, they're saying anywhere between 15 and 11 and 15 million people. That's what we assumed they were gonna come after. Your first raids are in freaking LA. Like, you're like, what the hell is going on here? That's the emotional part. Logically, it's the law. That's the logical side. And any Hispanic that comes from immigrant parents, whether your parents are immigrant or Hispanic here or any minority, you have to see things for what they are. It's the law. Like, no matter what, it's the law. Matter of fact, Rob, can you play this? Let me give context before, Rob. This video is in Tijuana. The Central Americans showed up in Tijuana. Nobody likes illegal immigration. Let's see what the Mexicans in Mexico did to the Central Americans, please. Shoot it, Rob.
What's this, Ricky?
This is in Tijuana with a Central American caravan came to Tijuana. And look at the signs. Well, you'll see them right now, Pat. It's only a minute-long video. No a la invasión. No to the invasion. No a la invasión. This isn't Mexico. This is not LA.
The Mexicans on the other
Mexicans.
side, yeah.
Look how they're treating the Central Americans. Puro Tijuana cabrones. Look. Primero nuestros pobres, no invasión, Tijuana no, primero México, first America.
Give us a little subtitle,
Inmigrantes
Archie.
no, sí, ilegales no la invasión. Mexico did this, you hypocrites. You want to be, racist, fascist. If you don't support the cause, then you're implicit. Silence is implicit. What about this shit? What about this? No country likes illegal immigration. There's no racism involved. There's no fascism involved. Whether we like it or not. And if Trump and if ICE were to pick up, I would be personally affected in a very, 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 very close manner to me. But the law are the law. Call it for what it is. If you can get all emotional, stupid about it. Here's the reality behind things. Mexico is corrupt. So when you go and do some shit like that, and you say, okay, well, there's two choices. You're either gonna go to jail, and I'm gonna deport your ass back to El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras, Colombia, Peru, Chile. Or this is what your option is. 30% of the women coming up to the southern border are being raped. And then there's the argument of, I love this one. Oh, then who's gonna mow your lawns? Who's gonna do the construction? Who's gonna pick the grapes? So you're okay with our people being exploited then? They're getting paid minimum wage. My grandmother worked in the fields. My mom worked in the fields. My grandpa, my uncles. They would tell them, either you work longer and you don't get paid overtime, or we're gonna call immigration.
Situation in California. Well, this particular live states that they support ICE. And so that piqued my interest because I too support ICE. But nevertheless, people think that this is some all-out war against Latinos or Mexicans. This is not no all-out war between no Latino Americans or Mexican Americans. The fact that American is behind your name lets us know that you are a citizen of the United States. And guess what? Great. So are we. I'm a black American. I'm not an African American. I'm a black American. Born here in America, not in Africa. Y'all clock that T, okay? Well, nobody against you whatsoever. I mean, you a citizen of the United States of America. You have a right, every right to be here. I had a Mexican American man, and he is Mexican American because he migrated from Mexico and has become a Mexican American immigrant. And the thing about it is, he did it the right way. He went through the process. He went through the full process. You know what I'm saying? The classes, all that stuff. Did everything he was supposed to do, and got his citizenship. Said the pledge. Pledged his allegiance to the United States of America, and he supports ICE. And people say, well, how can he support ICE? He's from Mexico. He supports ICE because he did it the right way. And see, there's a lot of people like him, Mexican American, Venezuelan American, Haitian American, those people that come into this country, even African American. I'm not an African American. That's why y'all got that stuff messed up. I was born here. My mama, my daddy, my grandparents, great-grandparents, and great-great, all born here in America. We are Americans, okay? But they have people from different nations that actually have citizenship here that are whatever that particular nation was, and American behind it, because they are legal. Those people that are running and hiding and doing all kind of crazy stuff, or even if they may not be doing any crazy stuff but still hiding, can't go to work because you know you're not legal, and you know that ICE is hot on your trail. You got people saying, well, not all of them are criminals. Yes, they are. If you broke it, how many times we got to say this? If you broke into a country, meaning you came in here illegally, the word illegal means as or pertaining to a crime. Duh.
As far as illegal, you're illegal. The colonizers brought your ancestors here in boats. Don't think that just because you were born here that means you're native. Grow up and say something. First of all, I'm not illegal. I'm not illegal. And you are big butt hurt mad that I'm not illegal. You don't know me, and I'm calling you up. You keep posting me and adding me with the same funky ass videos from different angles showing a few black people out there. The majority, the collective of people that's rioting and looting are Latinos. Point blank period. This is not to say that there are not some black people out there. The collective of us are at home drinking our coffee and tea be minding our business, going to work, and doing something productive. At the end of the day, I am not illegal, and you are mad that I am not an immigrant. Black Americans, foundational Black Americans that were born in America with American grandparents, American great-grandparents, and so on and so forth, we are not illegal immigrants. We've been here since the inception of this country. We are written into the Constitution. Do some research. Stop worrying about Black people and what we got going on. You got bigger fish to fry. Enough is enough. The anti-Blackness just reeks and jumps out. You want to call me an immigrant because you're talking about some straight out of Africa theory, which is a theory. A lot of Black people were already here before the so-called transatlantic slave trade. Read a book and leave me alone.
So there you have it. I just think rules are rules. And for all the people talking about Latinos rioted and protested during the George Floyd, look, George Floyd was an injustice done to a man. You're talking about you want Black people to actually go out and protest and riot for criminals who've done crime? I don't think so. Illegal migrants. It doesn't work that way. But anyways, if you made it to the end of the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, peace.